Hey everyone, Wolf Lord Rho here. Before I begin today, a big thank you to Artellus for the virtual gift voucher. Thank you very much for the support, my friend. It is truly appreciated. Thank you. But on to today. Today I'm finally giving you my review of the Warhammer 40,000 novel Shroud of Night by Andy Clark. First of all, I will give a spoiler-free review for those of you who want to read the story first, which is the best way, as I always say. And then after that, we'll get into a little spoiler talk. But with that out of the way, let's just jump straight in. Now, to ensure I don't spoil any of the big details, to summarise the plot, let me read you the synopsis from the back of the book. Upon the oceanic hive world of Cedreca, the darkness is held at bay by the golden light of a unique beacon. Yet as sharks are drawn to blood, so the ravening warbands of the heretic Astartes circle the planet, warring to claim this rich prize for their dark gods. Now, one of those warlords has deployed a secret weapon to end the deadlock. Cassar and his elite band of Alpha Legionnaires, the Unsung, must infiltrate the planet, using all their cunning and warrior skill to overcome the planet's defenders and corrupt the beacon. They will need to work fast, for none other than Khan, the betrayer himself, has come to lead the final assault. As a rising tide of apocalyptic warfare consumes Cedreca, Cassar and his brothers must race for the prize or be consumed by the fury of the storm. Okay, so first of all, I'm just going to lay it out there. This book is great. Andy Clark has absolutely smashed it out the park with this one. It's a truly awesome read. Firstly, the characters. He's really created a fantastic cast of characters. Cassar and his warband drive the story throughout, and for essentially a band of traitors, you can't help but root for them to pull it off. You find yourself behind them every step of the way, but never once does it feel like they've walked into goody two-shoe territory. These guys are an Alpha Legion warband through and through. Their characterization and actions are on point. They feel like you'd expect an Alpha Legion warband should. And on that note, the dynamic within the group is well balanced. Being a warband and no longer a structured legion, they aren't just blindly following orders. Cassar leads by his strength of character, and this character is tested throughout. As he attempts to lead the group through the mission and out the other side alive, there are genuine moments of tension between them. And these relationships are pushed, tested to the limit. But the strong characters aren't just limited to the Alpha Legion. The Imperials come across as dogged and defiant as you'd expect. The Space Marine captain in particular is the kind of man you'd gladly follow into any battle. And it's done so well, you find yourself wanting the Imperials and the Alpha Legion to somehow both come out with the victory. And last but not least, Khan. This is one of the best depictions of Khan in the 40k timeline, at least that I have personally read. He's not overused, but his presence is always there, just looming over the characters throughout their journey. The shadow of just what the presence of Khan the Betrayer means. And it really adds to the tension. It adds a level of threat which is almost palpable. And when you do see him, he's just an absolute embodiment of Khorne's Chosen. A primal force of rage and slaughter that never feels too much or hokey. Like, let's be honest, berserkers can run the risk of if not written correctly. Now, another big reason for the success of this novel to me is the plot, and the fact that it's a race against time. Once it gets to Sidreka, it just flows at an almost frantic pace, and the epic moments just keep coming one after the other. It keeps you turning the page and wanting to find out where it's going. It's a great page turner. The plot of The Beacon works as a standalone story, but also leaves the possibility of working in the wider lore. And that's one of those rare plot devices that works in the wider picture, but doesn't require you to have read other material. Though of course an understanding of the fall of Cadia and the Great Rift certainly helps, if this was your first 40k novel, I honestly don't think you would feel too overwhelmed, and would certainly enjoy it regardless. So overall, I think I've made it pretty clear. This was an absolutely amazing read for me, which means a lot coming from a pro-Emperor loyalist such as myself. It's filled with a great cast of characters, a strong plot, countless epic moments, and a couple of big names from the lore. I have no problem in saying this was one of the best reads I've had in quite some time. Easily entering my top 5 non-heresy novels. And I know that's quite a claim, but that's simply how much I enjoyed this read. So I can happily say Shroud of Night by Andy Clark gets a Wolf Lord Rho 5 out of 5. It is truly blessed by the Emperor. So for this story, I've really already covered many spoiler talking points last week, so be sure to go back and watch those. But we will be talking a few spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now, as I said in the non-spoiler section, the interplay within the warband is really well done. And particularly what I was referring to is the ongoing arguments regarding the gifts of the Chaos Gods. The fact that Cassar is set against it, whilst the warband is slowly coming under its effects regardless. The tightrope he is walking only for himself to accept in the demons, in what essentially is a rather selfless act, because it's the fault of his brothers dying without him that breaks his resolve. The demon truly manipulating him as chaos always does. Captain Dysorian of the Imperial Fists comes across as an absolute badass, like I said. There's an insane moment the World Eaters crash their cruiser straight into the hive to break through the Imperial Fist defences, and he just wades into the battle to stem the tide. It really is chest-swelling stuff. He's giving everything to what we know is a losing battle, but he's such a BMF. You want him to win. You want them to succeed, but of course they don't, and the Imperial Fists make their final stand against Lord Cordas, the leader of the World Eaters, in what I can only describe as an epic duel to say the least. Dysorian gives everything to defeat him, only then, exhausted and spent, for Khan the Betrayer to arrive, with a host of Khorne demons. And that is so grimdark 40k. But Dysorian, face to face with a bloodthirster, makes Rogel Dawn proud, giving his life for the Emperor, and he really was one of the star characters throughout. Seeing the arrival of Saint Celestine was interesting to me, how it's received by the Imperial forces, the differences between the worshipping sisters and skeptical fists, but how Dysorian's opinion was changed by seeing her in battle. I've never read a novel with Celestine in before, and she certainly came across well, going toe to toe with Khan after just beheading a keeper of secrets. The girl is a badass. Ultimately, of course, we know she loses, as she knew she would, but I'd certainly like to see a fresh Celestine get her rematch. And so it ends with the Alpha Legion indeed completing their mission, escaping with the beacon, thanks to the Emperor of Mankind himself, ordering Saint Celestine to help them, which opens up so many possibilities. Just where the future storyline avenues are going to go, who knows? And I can't wait to see where it does follow. But but it's certainly set up for a sequel, no doubt. Cassar and his warband have the beacon, thanks to a saint of the Emperor, and the Emperor's children are going to be after them. It's left on just as a tantalising moment as it reads throughout. And I really hope that Andy Clark does get to write his sequel, because he really deserves it after this first effort. If there are those of you listening now who haven't read it, do yourself a favour guys and go read it. You will understand what I am saying. You will not be disappointed, trust me. But for those that have read it, as always guys, what did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. A huge thank you to all my subscribers. Your support really means a lot to me, it truly does. And if you're new, please consider subscribing to help the channel grow. And if you enjoyed this particular vid, then why not drop a like on it too. But with that said, I am off, and I'll see you all again real soon.